a priority to try to just keep making our team better. We have a lot of free agents, and that indicates that we did a really good job last year. But the problem is to do that, we had to have contracts like we had, and so now we have to try to do it again. We have to try to sign as many of our guys back as possible.
You had a lot of turnover last year, and I
Yeah.
think you would say that it did take a couple of months to
Yeah.
kind of figure things out. That being said, would you like to keep as many of these guys as
Yeah,
possible?
I like our core. I like our our bench was really good this year, and it's obviously it makes your bench easy. You know, you look at Golden State as an example, as they have their bench intact, and so it allows them to be even better the following year. So I would love that. It's going to be hard to do that. I know that, but that's the goal.
Do you expect the three guys who have player options to decline just because of all the money that's out there?
Yeah, I think the whole league will decline. I don't think a guy in the league won't. So and they should. They all should. So that's fine.
How much more tweaking does this roster need?
I don't know. I mean, we're close, and we know that. Obviously with the injuries, we literally don't know what we could have done. I don't think, like Blake's injury in particular, even doing the playoffs, he still wasn't 100%. But I liked how our team grew through the season. I would love to have seen us 100% healthy going into the playoffs. And that, obviously, if we hadn't have won it then, you would have known exactly what you need to do. So now it's more of a guesswork, but I think we have a pretty good idea of what we need to do.
I'm sure a lot of teams are going to be calling you involving possible trade talks.
Yeah, but that's what they should do. So that's nothing new than what they do every summer. And that's part of the basketball business. Everybody wants to get better. There's going to only be one happy team. Tell our guys that. You think winning is easy. It's hard. Being a winner is hard. And Golden State did it, and somebody will do it this year, and then everyone else will be left trying to figure it out. And then there'll be those same questions, like they are here, and maybe other places why they haven't won it. And so it's our job to figure out, are we close enough?
But can you imagine any kind of a scenario where a team would present a package that would entice you to give up either Paul or
First of all, don't talk about that. That's silly for me to talk about. I think you know that. So, but the answer would be no. But we'll see.
You guys have 2 draft picks this year. How important is it going to be to hit on those guys based on the other things that you kind of have, the other limitations?
Dan, we're in the 20s picking. So if you're thinking you're going to hit a home run in the 20s, it happens. Historically it doesn't.
But do you? Even like a double. You know what I mean, or something like that. If we're going to use a baseball analogy,
Well,
is that a path to get? Is that a path to get better?
No. If I'm thinking about, we're going to do a great job in the draft. We're going to do the best we can. But to go into a draft in the mid-20s thinking you're going to hit a home run is just silly talk, or a double. All right. So, and to think that that's going to be the one that takes you over, obviously it'd be nice, but it's silly talk.
Are those assets you can use though? I know you can't do anything until draft night,
with
but
your draft picks, you can do whatever you want.
You said last year you would call Austin's mom to if you needed to help with him.
Yeah.
Do you anticipate it being tough to get him to come back?
Well, I think they all want to come back, but they've all played well, and so they've all made it more difficult. But we're gonna make a strong effort to bring all our guys back. I think that's a better way of saying it. So, and Austin obviously is included in that.
How much input will you have with Paul and his decision?
Very little. I don't. I just don't try to. I think that's so personal, and I think that's a decision that Paul's going to have to make. He'll ask, give him what I think, and very little of that, because I think players as far as thinking about retirement have to come to that conclusion. I don't think, even though I'm more than a coach to him, I don't think you can give him too much information. I don't ever want him sitting at home thinking why I did or didn't. I think that's a hard one. I was never a great player, so I don't get it, that part of it. that's a tough one.
Do you feel like he has another season left in him?
Yeah, I do. But, I think the whole key is where he wants to be health-wise and how did he feel through the season. I can't figure that one out.
You guys have had some success with minimum guys.
Well,
Not
that's the
this
only
year.
thing we could do.
So how hard is it going to be next year when there's all that money out
There's still
there?
minimum guys. That won't change that.
You don't
yeah.
think it will?
No, there'll still be minimum guys, and those are the guys that we may have to go after again. And we do have a little money, but not a lot, and we're going to have to be very creative again. That's just the situation we're in because of the salaries that we have, and we have good salaries.
How does that spike going to, you think, impact free agency for
I don't
maybe not
know
so
yet.
you guys,
Yeah.
but for the rest of the league?
Well, I think it'll be interesting how the teams that have a lot of money use it. Just because you have a lot of money doesn't mean you're in a great situation, and you can use it quickly. So I think what typically happens when a lot of teams have money, teams spend a lot of money, and then there's a lot of guys that thought they were going to get money that don't get it. And I think that'll happen again this year.
Apologies if I'm sure you've addressed this already in some point. Just broadly speaking, how do you tell when the margins are so thin, like if your team is just good enough, like if you're almost there?
Well, I think you look at your numbers. How many teams are in the top 5 or top 6 in scoring and defense? 3. We were one of them. The numbers tell us we're really good. Since we're in an analytical world now, you can't use them when you want to use them, and then don't use them when it doesn't fit your story. So if you just go analytically, an analytical guy would look at our numbers and say, "I wouldn't touch your team." So it depends on who writes the story, really. And from my standpoint, I could care less. It's more what I think and our organization thinks. But I'm just using that as an example.
When a season like this, where you guys get hurt, where Steph goes down with an injury, or takes him out for a couple weeks, how does that influence your thinking of what a team can do going into the playoffs, even if they're considered the second best team, the third best team, whatever it might be?
Well, in the West, unfortunately, we have the champion, the last two, and that's just what it is. San Antonio and Golden State, they had historic years. Yet there's 2 other teams, going into the playoffs, I think, that believe that they could still win it. And that was us in Oklahoma going into it. That doesn't mean the other teams can't. But, Golden State gets injured. Everyone around here, not our players, I'm talking outside of here, got excited, and then we got injured. And everyone in Portland got excited, and everywhere else, So it goes back to what I said before the year, where I wasn't making a personal attack at Golden State. Things got to go your way. And, clearly, I don't think I've ever seen a team lose 2 guys in 5 minutes in a playoff game, especially get 1 and 2 guys. But it has happened, I had to go back. I think the Lakers and it wasn't their best 2, but it was Magic and Byron, with the hamstrings in the Detroit series. That's the last that I could think of it. We lost Pert for Game 7, but it happens. But that's part of winning too. You need that, and we didn't have health this year.
Will any of these guys need surgery at the end of the year?
No, I guess Chris already had surgery, so I don't think anyone else will. I know they're doing their evaluations. They've done them the last day, and I think they have some more to do. But I think this summer we're surgery free that I know of.
Now, will Blake be healthy throughout the summer and ready for training camp?
I don't think he'll be healthy throughout the summer, but he'll be healthy way before training camp. He just had the procedure, and so whatever that it took Anthony, we'll take Anthony Davis, and whatever it took Iguodala, he did the same thing. A lot of the guys have done this, so it's not that the procedure is not that big of a deal. It just, I know when you do it, I think there's non-weight bearing involved, and that's what that slows the process. Obviously, if you can't put weight on something, it's tough to heal it right away. So
The Olympics out for him, for sure.
I think so. I don't know, but I would guess yes.
What about DJ? Is he still considering the Olympics?
Yeah, I think he is.